Our next category is Best Story, the game that displayed outstanding storytelling and writing. Our first winner of this category is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth with 2 write-ins. Who wants to start?
Whoever does not me.
Did I vote for this? I don't know what I vote.
Listen, I don't know what I put either. I'm like I'm pulling up the thing right now. The 2 people that wrote in this were it was Mike. Mike, you wrote this in.
Shit. I wrote this. Especially because I was like, I'm lost. So, we
stopped paying attention
I was
to the
really
story.
lost at the end of it all. Tim, there's a moment in the end of Final Fantasy 1.
He also
or
said
Final
they
Fantasy
lost
7
me.
remake.
He was like,
And,
they lost me.
I knew where I was, okay? I knew where we were going. I could at least guess. Then in this one, there's so many branching paths. You don't know which way is up. You don't know what's real, what's not real. But I do know what's real. Barrett never called his daughter, never checked in on her one time throughout an 80-hour experience. And that's pretty fucked up, okay? He left her behind. And you know what? Other people had to come in and become her father, and that's good for them. You know what I mean? Other people stepped up to take care of this girl, Marlene, and I'm really proud of that. You know what I mean?
So best story for you, Mike.
And so, like, the story, what a beautiful story, right? Like, how cool. We leave Midgard. We go out to this beautiful world that I didn't know about, and we just get lost in the fun from the awesome boat cruise that we had that had a lot of fun. There was a lot of Gwent. What's the card game?
No, Queen's Blood.
Queen's Blood.
For the
was
record,
fun.
remember, I've only played the prologue of this. Couldn't identify Queen's Blood enemies.
Fine, you know what I mean?
Couldn't
Not as
identify
good as
Queen's
Gwent's.
Blood off a fucking board.
And so we
Jesus
play a lot of
Lord.
Queen's Blood. Then we get to Costa del Sol. We see my main man, Johnny. Shout out to Johnny. He's not the Catman. So we found out now that Johnny didn't turn into the Catman. Very pleased with that.
When do I
Of
see
course,
Parappa the Rapper?
Hojo shows up and he's like, snap, I got these cute girls with me and I'm going to cause a problem at the beach. And you're like, Hojo, no.
He's not beating the
And then
accusations.
You battle Hojo. Then you go up to the tippy top and we find out that Barrett, he sold out his people, bro. It was pretty messed
Fucked up.
that he sold his hometown to
Spoiling
let
the
them go out
Yeah,
there.
you're
Well, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop. I'm going to well, you asked what's the story. I'm giving you the story about how this is going to go.
Nobody
You
asked.
know what I mean? So, fantastic story. All you need to know is fantastic story. Lost me at the end, though. Magic cards took over.
I do love that when I showed everybody the clip of me getting mad at Mike for not paying attention during the most critical cutscene of the whole video game. Mike said, well, it lost me. You know, the game lost me. So for him to put this on here, I'm really proud of him. You know?
He came to his senses. You know,
Yeah,
A lot of character development.
Yeah,
I
he
need
came
about
to
4.5 hours of recap videos to watch. Yeah.
This is a tough category for me because I think there were a lot of really good contenders, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth definitely was one. And it did come down to like the ending losing me a little bit of like why I might have put something else above it. But even still, for me, when I think about the story of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I don't necessarily think of the journey because the journey. We can talk about the journey because you kind of
journey continues.
You kind of end where you start in the journey, if I'm being honest. But I do think about the characters, right? This kind of goes back to my best character conversation as far as like the cast and like the moments of the game. This game has moments for days, right? This game has a moment that like had me like, you know, my fist balled up on my desk, like holding back emotion just for the fact that like, man, I can't believe Cloud is getting this moment, right? Like so many times in which, you know, characters, the character work in this game did justice to the fact that, you know, not only are you telling a story that needs to, I think, do its characters justice and like allow them to have their moments, whether it be Red 13, whether it be these things that I don't want to spoil, even though it's an old game, whether it be that or whether the game is thinking about me as a fan, right? Or even not just me, somebody like Tim Geddes as a fan of this forever and thinking about the fact that Tim Geddes has investment in maybe Cloud and Tifa or Cloud and Aerith or whatever these things are. Every combination of every one of these characters. The game speaks to those people so strongly and I think does justice by that. And like, it's one of those ones where for as much as I enjoyed this game, playing it as, you know, part of my first Final Fantasy VII journey, because I never beat the original Final Fantasy VII, I am still, you know, I wish I played the original just so I can love it that much more.
Yeah, as somebody that has been there from the beginning and like with not just the game, but the movies and the world and the spinoffs and every single thing, the theorizing and all of it, like this story to me continues to deliver, continues to make me ask questions, continues to give me new things to ponder. And at the end of the day, like story's not plot. I feel like the plot of this game might not be the best. Sure. But I think the story of the characters, the dynamics, the backstory that they all have, like Mike bringing up what everything Barrett goes through, I think is so powerful and incredibly well presented in this game. And yeah, I feel like to me the story of Rebirth is incredible if the plot is not.
Yeah. And you know, even on top of that, right? Like, I respect and appreciate a game or a story that like that might be an adaptation, that might be a remake or whatever it is, that bathes in the source material. And this game bathes in the source material.
Well
You
said.
took I don't even know how many hours I would say this is in the first game, but you somehow made 80 hours of it, and you were in that shit, right? You lived that shit.
The investment that I have in the world and in the characters and the dynamics between all of those things, like it's unrivaled, I think, compared to maybe any other game.
Yes.
What are you doing, Greg? What are you?
It just occurred to me that we're in perfect pairs. Like everyone is like alt skins for each other. Like you got the two suit jackets and the gold chains, the two t-shirts under blazers, the two collared shirts under blazers. We're all like lined up in like I'm buttoned and you guys are unbuttoned. It's just like nobody planned this.
Oh my god, even the chains.
Yeah, the chains. Yeah. It's like a very weird.
Go fighters.
And there's a book from Macy's. Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Our second winner of Best Story of 2024 is Metaphor ReFantasio. This is another entry that had 2 people write in.
Yeah, I'm assuming that is me and Barrett.
Yes.
I want to take this
I
up.
don't think so.
Oh, maybe not.
No.
The magical person that said metaphor.
I played the demo.
No, you didn't vote twice.
Wait, for Best Story? No, Bear, you wrote it in for Best Story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay, never mind then.
All right.
But I want to take it off and just say, like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I still have not finished this game. I'm at the very, very ending. Probably have 5 hours left. But it's a story that has affected me so deeply. You know, just went through a rough time over the break, and this game, like, it's one of those things that just pulled me out of the darkness. Right? Like, it inspires me. It makes me emotional talking about it and watching trailers. Even it's a special video game that I did not expect to hit me, and it's that group of characters, right? Like those people and those that squad that you have that really rises, and also just the twists and turns. And I want to talk spoilers, but I won't. But like what your main character becomes is such a great metaphor for reality, and also where I want to be in my life, and you know, how I want to grow as a human, right? And it's beautiful. It's some beautiful stuff, and that's all I'll say. I love it.
Yeah, there's so many, like every game that this team has made before, there's so many different themes, character arc stories that you could pull from to talk about. But I think like the thing that doesn't get talked about enough, because I think a lot of people focus on the kind of core narrative plot thing of it being like this a big election and you winning over the will of the people over the course of a year. But the other kind of meta narrative thing that like really grabbed me that we talked about in our spoiler cast and in our review is the developers kind of thinking about what makes art successful, and is art successful when it sells 1 million copies of a video game or of like a DVD or whatever, or is art truly successful when it inspires people to, or challenges people to look at what is important to them in life and their ideals, and challenges them and pushes them to live out those ideals in the real world. And a lot of that is fiction truly important, and can fiction change reality? All of that stuff really worked for me in big ways, and where all that goes in the meta narrative, I think is fucking awesome. So I just wanted to give that a quick shout out.
Personally, 20 hours in, like I would put this on Best Story. Like I think Metaphor's story is
I'm so proud of you that you're 20 hours
utterly
in.
captivating. Like I don't think I'm going to see this through just because like the gameplay of it all isn't my thing, but the story of it, like it's incredible. Like if this was an anime, I would watch the anime for sure.
Yeah.
Our third winner of Best Story of 2024 is 1000 Times Resist, which I assume Barrett thought it was the one that he wrote.
Yeah, because I know the list, so I thought I voted for this one.
No,
but is
this was me. I voted
This
for
was me. Oh shit.
Oh shit!
I mean, unless maybe I'm wrong. Hold on, let me double check.
It should have been all three of us. Let's be honest.
No, I was the one who voted
Okay,
1000
damn.
Times Resist. Yeah, and like I mean, the 3 games that are listed here already are like would be in contention for my top 3 of when I talk about best stories 2024. And the reason why 1000 Times Resist for me elevates above is like I mentioned before, right? Final Fantasy VII made me feel. Right, that game made me feel emotions just because I not that I identified with the characters, but like I felt for those characters. I love those characters. I love what they went through together. Metaphor ReFantasio, I would say like made me think. Like that's the game that I think dives so well into its subject matter and so well into like the politics and how it goes about like its depiction of an election and like a fantasy world's version of an election. 1,000 Times Resist is a game that made me do both, and I think that is why it elevates above, and it made me do both deeply, right? Like I mentioned earlier in the show, it's a game that, you know, by the time I finished it, by the time I got later into it, like I felt anger. Like I felt anger for the system. I felt like I wanted to resist. I wanted to go do something, right? But like, you know, it's also a game that I think tackles its subject matter so interestingly. Like Barrett gave the premise as far as, you know, you are this there is a character who essentially like is basically Ellie from The Last of Us, right? Like she is the immune one, or like she is not immune, might not even be the right word, but she is like the sole survivor of like an apocalyptic event essentially, and like that leads into like cloning and very interesting like sci-fi type like subject matter, and they take that and put it into such interesting context and really ask questions and pushes shit. And the biggest compliment I can give this game, talking about, we were on KPD yesterday, or no, we were on Gamescast yesterday. It was me and Mike, and we were talking about this game mouthwashing. One of my complaints with mouthwashing is like, it gets to a point where that game gets so trippy. And one of the things that I don't necessarily love in fiction as much, and this is a me personal thing, is like when shit gets so trippy that like I can't really, not that I can't follow the narrative, but things are happening that I don't necessarily give a fuck about, right? Like, okay, I'm walking in circles. Okay, the world's flipping in on itself. Okay, like this shit is happening and it's a dream sequence. Like that's where shit loses me oftentimes when that shit happens so much. 1,000 Times Resist does that shit where it's like, what the fuck is happening? But it didn't lose me. Like I was on the ride the whole time.
And you get your answers pretty quickly.
Yeah,
and
like,
that's one thing I really
answers
appreciate
for all that
about
shit.
it.
And
Yeah.
it navigates that stuff so well.
I don't know if my nomination made the list, because I know we try to limit them to 5. But I mean, fucking throw me in for 1,000 Times Resist, because I loved this
Hell
story,
yeah.
and I think if you're somebody who doesn't want to look deeper than just the surface level sci-fi story, which I think is interesting and enough on itself, but dealing with all the familial type of relationship stuff with the main character and her parents, and the dynamics that they have there, and them being them fleeing a country and trying to go somewhere else, and being in this place that they're brand new to and they don't feel like they are welcome. It's so well done in every sort of aspect of what it's trying to do storytelling wise.
Yep. Our fourth winner of Best Story is Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
Greggy, are you?
Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah, you didn't do. You don't remember what you did? Did you put this one in there?
No, I'm pretty sure I don't know.
I can tell you what you did. 'Cause it didn't make it. It was you did 9 souls.
Oh no. Okay, got you.
Sure, yeah, I put Dragon Age: The Veilguard in here. Well known that I loved it. It's the story that connected with me the most this year. I think what's impressive, of course, is that I'm not a Dragon Age person, and I guess I'm a little bit more than I used to be, but I'm not a fantasy person either. I found that this cast of characters that you were going about and recruiting was so good. I think it was good enough to put it, set the stakes right away. It was excellent to get us in there and give us a cast of characters to go through in towns and cities that were actually mattered and things were going on that I enjoyed. The relationships I made with all my side characters as I ran through the decisions on who to romance, sure, but then the answers to that, the relationships that came from the people I didn't romance, I loved all that, let alone there's a kind of a Sixth Sense thing at the end they do, right, a gotcha moment that I didn't see coming that leads to a cool thing that leads to a giant fight and stuff. Like I had a great time. I was in the whole time. It's one of those games I look back so fondly of enjoying every moment, not only from the gameplay but from the story side too.
Yeah, had I not beaten 9 souls, Bellar probably would have been my best character.
Yeah.
Loved her story, loved her development, everything about her.
Yeah, I had shot out Tosh, but I didn't make the cut on that one for my favorite character of the year.
Remember Tosh Point oh. Our fifth winner of Best Story in 2024 is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This is one that I believe was a Paris Lily write-in. Yeah, and I can speak
Really?
Yeah. Well, let me double check. I believe it was a Paris Lily one. Yeah, it was Paris Lily.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking on not even his behalf, I guess my own behalf, like I can't believe how well of an Indiana Jones experience this is from a cinematic presentation, like a story perspective, right? Like if you like stitch these cutscenes together and handed it over to me, it might be a top 3 Indiana Jones movie. Like it is that
honestly
good.
top 2.
Honestly,
For me at least. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't say enough good things about Troy Baker as Indy. His depiction is so good that there was a part where like I had the thought of, oh man, Harrison Ford. I don't know if I liked Harrison's like delivery here, and then I remembered that it wasn't Harrison. Then I remember it was Troy, and I was like, fuck, that's Troy Baker as Harrison as Indiana Jones. Like that is so impressive. But yeah, the moment to moment, like I think one of the things that kept me in the game was the fact that I felt so Indiana Jones playing this game, and so much of that is the globetrottiness of it, going from the Vatican to Egypt to wherever you go later, right? Like I love the game for that stuff, and so shout out Indiana Jones.
I think it's very impressive that at the end of it, you know, it doing kind of the same things that the movies does, but it hitting on the same level as the movies. Like the kind of last hour of this game hit in a way that brought me back to watching Last Crusade for the first time, and I was like, God damn, Indiana Jones is actually sick as hell, and I like didn't give him his due and talking shit about this game for years and years. Mike, give it to me.
Indy.
All right, acceptable.
Congratulations, our best story winners of 2024.
This episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. You sign up for something, forget about it after the trial period ends, and then you're charged month after month after month. The subscriptions are there, but you're not using them. In fact, 85% of people have at least one paid subscription going unused each month. Thanks to Rocket Money, you can see all of your subscriptions in one place and cancel the ones you're not using anymore and save more money. Rocket Money has helped multiple members of Kinda Funny learn they were still paying for things that they totally didn't even realize. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/kindafunny today. That's rocketmoney.com/kindafunny. rocketmoney.com/kindafunny.
Best DLC / expansion. This is for the expansion or downloadable content that you fell in love with. Our first winner for this category is, of course, Elden Ring. Shadow of
What a
the
surprise.
Erd Tree.
What a surprise.
Similar to, I believe, Hades 2, out of the 8 of us, 5 of us voted in with Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree.
This is one that I told Bless, if this has a lot of nominations, then put something else on the list. But yeah, Elden Ring, I mean, what a great time. Tough adventure, amazing art direction, incredible discovery. They made a whole other video game that took 50 hours to beat for their DLC, and it's a great freaking time.
Yeah, Andy and I almost missed Tim's wedding because Andy couldn't beat the boss.
Yeah. Well,
That was a
That would
fun
have been a
time.
good story.
we definitely stopped playing co-op, and then I beat the boss
Yep.
solo. Mike got really mad at me.
Cheated on me.
Mike got really
Never
mad
will
at me.
forgive him. What a great game. What a
Fucking Andy, I
fantastic
hate him.
DLC. Especially because I played all of the FromSoft games this year and I played all the DLCs. And to see the growth of a DLC package and what you would expect out of a From Software title to then a giant open world. Here is just an experience that is almost like Elden Ring, where it's just massive 40 hours. You can get lost. You can find different caves. You have everything that you would expect from it. I cannot believe that they built this and we got to play this and enjoy it this year. What a great game.
Yeah, I think one that captured the zeitgeist, especially in the first half of the year, where so much of our coverage felt like it was anticipating Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, and that dominated so much of our, oh, what does this mean? Oh, us watching the trailer and being like, okay, so what is like this sickle sort of thing that looks like a side of grace, but it isn't a side of grace? And so much speculation was so fun leading up to this, but even while playing it, it was the thing of, you know, playing the original Elden Ring in anticipation for Erd Tree, and then playing Erd Tree and being like, wow, y'all didn't just make more Elden Ring. Like, y'all found ways to, you know, redo how certain aspects work, right? Like, caves are different. The catacombs are kind of different, right? Like, you guys are adding in more of like the side content that you would expect, or like, I guess the discoverable content that you'd expect, but remixing it in ways that makes this world feel a bit more alive and a bit more, you know, seamless as you go. That plus the bosses being incredible, like how they figure out the difficulty ramp, which might have been a bit much, but yeah, like there's so much I can say, like how vertical the world design was compared to base Elden Ring, where it is, wow, you guys continue to level up how you think about even how you design an open world. Very impressive with Shadow of the Erd Tree. Oh. Our next winner for best DLC / expansion is Alan Wake 2 Night Springs.
Yeah, I wrote that one in. Just me, right? Just me. Yeah,
I believe it was
that
just
makes
you,
sense. I don't know. Greg played it too.
I loved it.
Yeah, I actually, to be honest, this is a year of like I didn't really play many expansions or DLC, but this is the one that stood out to me. Surprisingly disappointed by the other Alan Wake 2 DLC. I thought it was kind of bare bones and didn't really move the story ahead at all. But Alan Wake 2 Night Springs was just a fun time, right? It's 3 bespoke stories inside of the multiverse of Alan Wake 2, and they get weird with it, right? You have Jesse Faden in an alternate universe. You have the waitress in a diner, and then you have what's his face from he's the detective in this one, but he's also in Quantum Break.
I mean, Sam Lake himself. Yeah.
No.
Oh, no, you mean Sean Ashmore.
Yeah, Sean Ashmore. So 3 really weird stories that play into the multiverse of the Remedy universe, and it gets really weird, but has some interesting implications for the rest of the universe, right? For Control 2 and potentially an Alan Wake 3, and it gets super meta and fun. But I just had a blast. It's such a great hanging out after work and just playing this for 2.5 hours, and just I'm not going to forget this experience. This was a great way to kind of put a pin into the
DLCs for story-based games are so difficult, right? Yeah. Where it is like, well, how much are you doing? Why wouldn't you go make a sequel? And I think so many times things get released and it actually doesn't take away, but it's like, well, I already rolled credits, so to jump into this is going to be so tough. This being an anthology set in the Night Springs, which of course is their Twilight Zone inside of Alan Wake 2. It was such a great little fun way of like, let's give you more out of this game in this quirky universe we've made.
Yeah, I just want to shout out just the writing as well, like the
Hilarious.
So funny, especially with the waitress, which I think is like technically the first one. I think you can play them in any order, but like that's the first one that pops up in the menu. And just the writing of that, of her kind of delusion of having a relationship with Alan Wake and how that plays into like fan fiction writing and all that was so goddamn funny. They nailed it. It's so good.
The villains yelling random barks that are just very meta about like the game development or about the game as a whole. And like, yeah, you in the normal game you just hear a bunch of enemies saying like "wake" or whatever, but in this DLC, just having villains yell at you like, this meta narrative is too hard to understand. Like just random shit like that. It's
like
very
there's
funny.
the boss fight where Alan Wake turns into like a werewolf with her, and then he's like, my motorcycle's a werewolf too, and like all this shit. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here? It's so fucking fun.
So creative and a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Our third winner for the best DLC / expansion of 2024 is Starfield Shattered Space.
Who is this?
Oh.
It's your dark horse for game of the year, everybody. So look out on Monday. You never know what's going to happen.
Very dark horse.
Nobody would see it coming. Everybody knows how much I adore Starfield, how much fun I have in this game. That, again, is not a 10 out of 10 by any stretch of the imagination. Shattered Space was my pick for this because, of course, it is a DLC that gave us what the base game should have been. Here is a planet that was handcrafted. It's chock full of what you'd expect from a Bethesda RPG, of little conversations to listen to. Here comes the quest. Here are these decisions to make. How do you want to go out? You get to the end. There's going to be this big choice, this choice. Who do you put in charge? Blah, blah, blah. On top of that, a completely different color palette from what we had seen in Starfield before then. On top of that, for so many people, it was their return to a Starfield that is far different than a launch game. 60 frames per second on Xbox, of course. Having vehicles to drive around in. The launch of the mod shop, right, that had quests from Bethesda and then other quests from other creators that I think are better than some of the quests that are from Bethesda and have been added to it. As a Starfield stan, it was just a great way to jump back in, enjoy that world. I spent a lot of time in there and feel like, man, this is what I wish the game would have been all the way through, but I'm happy to have it now.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Congratulations, Starfield.
Our fourth winner for best DLC / expansion of 2024 is Prince of Persia: Mask of Darkness.
Who is this? What a DLC. What a video game. Honestly, I feel honored that we were even able to get this expansion this year. I remember when they announced it at the Ubisoft Forward, it was just such a like, whoa, oh my God, we're getting DLC of this game. Like, didn't expect that. And if we did, I thought it was just going to be kind of like, oh, hey, here's some outfits. And they did that as well. I think that at the end of the day, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown is going to go down as one of my favorites of all time. And with the post-release content that they've done, I think that it's only gotten better. And any kind of issue I had with the core game, they addressed. And any outfit that I wish that they had, they added. And a lot of the little quality of life things that playing through it the first time, I was like, man, I really wish fast travel worked just a little bit different. Now it does. The DLC added all of that stuff, but in addition to that, specifically the Mask of Darkness expansion here, added everything that I love about Prince of Persia Lost Crown. Amazing combat, amazing platforming challenges, and very, very, very creative abilities and power-ups, and using those in every way imaginable, getting the most juice out of it. And I couldn't believe that in this 5-hour expansion, whatever it is, there's like 2 new abilities that are as good as the ones in the core game. And that was very special. The boss fights in this were great. I don't know that this is as good as every single thing from the core game, but getting more of it was such a surprise story-wise. I thought the stuff was a great addition. And I absolutely hate what happened to this team. They do not deserve it, but they really, really put their all into even this expansion, and I'm very thankful for it.
And then our 5th winner for best DLC/expansion of 2024 is Destiny 2: The Final Shape.
Oh, this is mine. This was my alternate one in case it was too many Elden Ring votes. Because I just, again, as somebody who fell hard off of Destiny 2 for a long time, to hop back in, and knowing that I wanted to hop back in for the final DLC, which is The Final Shape, somebody who just does, I don't know shit about the lore, but I think those final moments culminated in such an amazing way, even for somebody like me who didn't really know every touchstone for every side character that you've met along the way. But them having this Avengers Endgame moment at the end was just awesome. And gameplay-wise, puzzle-wise, whatever they were asking you and your squad to do gameplay-wise was so fun. And it's just like pure first-person shooter fun. The amount of puzzles where a lot of... I think just really engaging in ways that I hadn't experienced in Destiny in a while. And I was so happy that largely the whole community of Destiny was like, wow, you all fucking crushed it. You landed the plane. This was a great time. I had an amazing time with Destiny 2, The Final Shape. Didn't do the raid, though. Didn't get raid ready, Mike. Chris Anka didn't tell us.
I got raid ready.
Yeah.
Did you do the
Did
raid?
you do the raid?
No. Everybody talks a big game. They don't
He's
want to
betrayed. I got raid ready. I didn't do it, though. Congratulations to our winners of Best DLC/expansion of 2024. Yeah. This brings us to our 6th category out of 12. We're about halfway there.